Do you care about leadership? Is this something that interests you? I love leadership and I need your help. I want to start my PhD soon on the study of leadership. I'm looking at lots of different literature, going to be doing lots of different interviews, and I really, really, really need your help. So I'm just looking at a book by James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, covering a few little bits in that. Have a listen, let me know what you think. So a couple of weeks ago, I was recommended a book by a friend, and it's only a short book. I've been through quite a lot of books recently, but I just thought because it's so short, just thought I'd whiz through it. It's by James Allen, and it's called As a Man Thinketh. From 1902, it's been a very, very popular book within the world of literature. I know there's a lot of people who've read it. It's a classic, so there's a lot of bits in here that I thought were really, really relevant to a lot of the stuff I've been talking about. So I just wanted to read a few bits from it and just review them. And honestly, they're really, really good. So, yeah, I'll get to it. Every thought seed sown or allowed to fall into the mind and to take root there produces its own, blossoming sooner or later into act and bearing its own fruitage of opportunity and circumstance. Good thoughts bear good fruit, bad thoughts, bad fruit. Simple, really. Doesn't need much explanation. A lot of people have said it in many other different ways, but I think the fact that this was written in 1902 and it's still relevant today, good thoughts bear good fruit, bad thoughts, bad fruit. Positive thoughts, that's what you need. If you think about what you don't have, a lot of people say you need to show or practice gratitude. I think it's very important. Be grateful for what you've got. Think positively about the future. I heard someone else say something the other day about life, and if you try to imagine something you want, the end result, and say for example you wanted a really successful business and you were thinking about this Lamborghini you wanted to buy in the end, they're saying it won't happen if you think about the things you're going to get from that thing that you're trying to imagine. Instead, if you imagine having, say you started a business and all you did was constantly think about the business being super successful and what it's going to be like when you're running it and you've got lots of staff, and what would you like to do when you've got all this money coming in, the uniforms you'd like people to wear, and how you want the communication to be done, and where your offices are going to be. And if you think about the business and not what you're going to do with all the money, it's going to happen because you're constantly thinking about how you're going to make the business better. So instead of putting, what are they called, where someone puts a board on the wall and then they put like a boat on it, a dream board or whatever, that's wrong, but they'll put what they want to buy. I think that's not going to happen. Instead, if you put that on that board, the vision of you as the CEO or whatever it may be, I think that is how these things work, and they actually do work that way. So I think instead of, if you want to be for example, talking about leadership, if you want to be a great leader, instead of thinking about, when we win, I'm going to have a party with everyone, say whatever the competition may be, and you were a leader, or say you were leading a business, again, instead of thinking about, I'm going to go to Barbados, and no. Instead, you think about how you're going to be a great leader. Imagine yourself as this leader, and the positive effect you're going to have on everyone, and visualize yourself as this great leader rather than what you're going to get as a result of being that great leader. I think that's super important. So if you took it in sporting terms, say the manager of a football club, or even the captain of a football club, instead of imagining the trophy, instead you imagine yourself leading the team winning games, the team being really strong, you having a massive effect on everyone. That is how you get to be a champion, I believe. So, men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. The man who does not shrink from self-crucifixion can never fail to accomplish the object upon which his heart is set. This is as true of earthly as of heavenly things. Even the man whose sole object is to acquire wealth must be prepared to make personal sacrifices before he can accomplish his object, and how much more so he would realize a strong and well-poised life. This is about sacrifice, this little bit. I think it's about where it says unwilling to improve themselves and therefore remain bound. I think it's about constantly looking to be better every day, which goes along with that sort of like visualization. If you're constantly visualizing yourself as better, I'm going to be a leader who is gracious and compassionate and direct and decisive and calm and caring, and if all these things you imagine yourself doing it, it's the power of visualization. But like I said, it's not about the power of winning or the visualization of winning. It's the visualization of you being that great leader, so you in the moment. I think that's the key. A particular train of thought persisted in, be it good or bad, cannot fail to produce its results on the character and circumstances. A man cannot directly choose his circumstances, but he can choose his thoughts, and so indirectly, yet surely, shape his circumstances. To a degree, I agree with this. If you're a prisoner of war, you can't shape your circumstances. You are what you are. But you can manage your perception of your situation. I think being grateful of the time you had with someone, for example, like a parent, when they pass away, when they die, if you are constantly feeling sorry for yourself and how they've left you and blah blah blah, you're ruining that beautiful thing that was there. So I think instead, feeling lucky about the time you got to spend with them, the fact that they lasted as long as they did, the fact you even got to meet them. There's some people out there that never even get to meet their parents. So I think being grateful and trying to find a silver lining in every situation, I think that's a valuable thing. Again, especially as a leader. I know there's a you know the phrase or the thing where people say, do you see the glass as half full or half empty? I love that. I heard a comeback years ago that was, I see it as completely full, half full of water and half full of air. And I love that answer. So it is completely full. It's just your perception of what is in there. I mean, if you said, is the glass half empty, half full, and all you're doing is looking for wine, you would say it's completely empty. But it's not. There's water in there. But they're so obsessed with the wine, they're like, no, it's empty. It's empty because there's nothing in it that I want. So I think changing the perception of what is in there and taking that back to, for example, leadership. You might go through something really bad and you can use that as a lesson. You can kind of say, okay, this has happened really bad, but I'm actually quite grateful that it's bad, that this happened, because this bad thing, because I can learn from it, and B, I'm glad it happened to me because someone else might not have been able to cope with the bad situation, the pressure, whatever it may be. So I'm glad it did happen to me because I'm strong enough to make it through this bad thing. So I think I'd rather bad things happen to me than other people sometimes, because I know that I've got the capacity to manage those bad situations and not completely break down. So sometimes I just think changing your perception of what's happened. It's a powerful thing. Powerful thing. So number 4. Men will continue to have impure and poisoned blood, so as long as they propagate unclean thoughts. Out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of a defiled mind proceeds a defiled life and a corrupt body. Thought is the fount of action, life and manifestation. Make the fountain pure, and all will be pure. Powerful words. Powerful words, to be honest. I think if you, as it says, if you out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. I think having a clean body is very important. Having clean life is important. Having clean thoughts, clean actions, I think it is important. I really do. I think having those, as it says, impure and poisoned blood will propagate unclean thoughts. I think that goes for also the people that you're around. I know there's is it the phrase that's you are like the you're most like the 5 people you spend the most time with, or whatever it is. I think that goes with this. I think if I'd rather be on my own and not around anyone who's going to make me behave badly, think badly, but I'd rather be on my own than around them, because at least I feel good. I feel like I can sleep at night. I think that the power of your comfort in being on your own, I think it is a very powerful thing, because I don't feel like I have to rely on being around other people to function. And if those people are bad, I want the choice to be able to go, no, I'm happy to be on my own. You take that power away from people, that kind of reliance on them. I think it's super important to be able to be on your own. Kind of went a bit off topic there, but anyway, number 5. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pityings, all of which are indications of weakness, which lead, just as surely as deliberately planned sins, though by a different route, to failure, unhappiness, and loss, for weakness cannot persist in a power-evolving universe. Deep. I think that's quite deep. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries. I do agree with that, very much so. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. It's gone. Anyway. Sorry. So easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pityings, all of which are indications of weakness. I really like that. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to just because I want to say that my central purpose is to give back to all of the orphans in Brazil. I taken it very personally, and it's a personal responsibility to be able, because I'm in the position I'm in. I want to be able to go back to Brazil and give orphans an education. I want to be able to give them good dentistry. I want to start a foundation, and I want to pay for tutors to go into orphanages in the evenings, 5 days a week, or maybe a Saturday. I'm not sure. Maybe a Saturday as well. But basically, they give extra time to those orphans to ensure that they get good grades. I want them. A lot of the orphans are not very educated, so I want to make sure that they are educated so they can get jobs and they can help themselves. It's all good having handouts when you're a child, but as soon as you get to adult, you don't get any help, any assistance. So they need the best kind of opportunity to better themselves, so that they can then live a functional life rather than kind of being chucked on the scrap pile at 18. So yeah, that's my ultimate central purpose. I mean, I want to build some jiu-jitsu gyms in Brazil where all children and women can train for free. I want to make a football academy where I can take players over to Europe for free. I mean, don't worry, there is a plan on how I'm going to pay for all this. Um, but ultimately, I just want to help as many people as possible. I also want to find my family in Brazil. I mean, I want to find my mum, I want to find my dad, I want to find my family. I want to be there and help them. I want to kind of like return and sounds bad, but be good enough. I want to be able to return and help where I can, and I feel that that's why. And this is going back to silver linings. I feel like maybe that's why I am where I am, because I'm here to be able to in the UK to learn, to be able to make money, make something of myself, to be able to go back to Brazil and help those people who can't help themselves. That's my central purpose. I mean, one of the tattoos that I've got is penitencia, which is penance, which means I owe a penance to the people of Brazil, my family, the other orphans. I feel a massive guilt for the fact that I'm in the UK and they're not. I was adopted and they weren't. I mean, when I met orphans when I was back in Brazil, and they treated me like I was one of them, and I've never felt so guilty in all my life, because they would have done anything to swap places with me and be in England. And I mean, the fact that I've got an education, I've got a job, I've got a family, I'm able to afford a house and food, and it just destroys me, the thought of guilt every single day. So that's my central purpose in life, to be the best dad I can be as well, to kind of make my children into really, really beautiful human beings who will also help others. So yeah, I've got a very, very, very strong central purpose, and I don't worry about stupid little things. So I think this short one here is for me, it means a lot. So going back to where it says, if you don't have that, it will lead to failure, unhappiness, and loss, for weakness cannot persist in a power evolving universe. Yeah, I don't allow myself to have any weaknesses. I don't. I just got to keep pushing forward, because I owe it to other people. It's not for me, it's for other people. Anyway, moving on, number 7. A strong man cannot help a weaker unless that weaker is willing to be helped, and even then the weak man must become strong of himself. He must, by his own efforts, develop the strength which he admires in another. None but himself can alter his condition. I've learnt this the hard way. I've had a lot of friends and family who I want to help, who I care about, and it's not that they throw it back in your face. They're just not ready to be helped, and I don't think some people can ever be helped. I think drawing your boundaries on day one is very important, and to say to people, I will help you with A, B, and C. Things that will help you, but I will not give you D, E, F. That's the line, black and white. I'm not going to give you handouts, but I will be here if you need me, if you need help and support with doing something that will help yourself. I think making sure that that line is in the sand is vital in maintaining good relationships. Some people don't like it. Some people say, well, if you've got this and I need it, why don't you give it to me? No, I'm not just going to give you handouts. Maybe I might help you with something if I, it sounds really bad, but I'm not just going to help people for no reason. If you really do put an effort in, if you really are desperately trying to get a job, I will do everything in my power to get you a job. I will ensure you get a job, no matter what. If someone really wants to go to night school to learn to do something, I will do everything in my power to help them, because they're trying to better themselves. But if someone comes to me and just says, oh, can I have some money? No. The end. Oh, but I don't have money for... Nope. I never, ever, ever do I give anyone money. It doesn't matter who it is, because if I do not give them money, then they can't let me down. So there's a line that I draw in the sand, and I think it goes a long way to, like I said, maintaining those relationships. But also, if you've got someone who really does want the help, and you say to them, I will help you with, like I said, I'm if you ever need help with anything, if you ever want anyone to talk to about anything, I'm here to talk to. If you want some help going down, if you want someone to drive you to the college, and then we can look at evening courses, I'll always take you. And they're like, well, I don't really want to go to college, I just want money. It's like, no. So I think someone who really wants help will be the one that will call you and say, do you mind taking me to the college? Of course not. And I will do everything I can to help them. So I think giving people those tasks to say, are you really going to do that? Are you really, do you really want to help yourself, or is it bullshit? It sounds like a test. It kind of is, I suppose. Anyway, he who has conquered weakness and has put away all selfish thoughts belongs neither to oppressor nor oppressed. He is free. Fuck, I love that little bit. I really do. He who has conquered weakness and has put away all selfish thoughts belongs neither to oppressor nor oppressed. I think you're allowed some selfish thoughts, but at the same time, I think if they are for the greater good. So, for example, I want to spend time with my children, but I go to jiu-jitsu in the evenings because if I go to jiu-jitsu, A, it helps me calm my mind. B, it helps me stay fit and strong. And I think to myself, long term, I'm going to be around longer if I'm fitter, if I'm not being stressed out. If I'm constantly stressed and I'm fat and overweight, and I'm going to end up getting ill in my 50s and die. So if instead I'm looking after myself mentally and physically, then I believe I'm going to be there for longer. So for me, yes, they are seeing me less now, but in the long run, I think they will see me more for it. So probably a little bit of mental gymnastics in there, but I think it is a slightly selfish thought, but in the long run, I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. So if it's purely something selfish, then I agree. Don't do it. But anyway, last one. Before a man can achieve anything, even in worldly things, he must lift his thoughts above slavish animal indulgence. He may not, in order to succeed, give up all animality and selfishness by any means, but a portion of it must at least be sacrificed. A man whose first thought is bestial indulgence can neither think clearly nor plan methodically. He could not find and develop his latent resources and would fail in any undertaking. Not having commenced to manfully control his thoughts, he is not in a position to control affairs and to adopt serious responsibilities. He is not fit to act independently and stand alone, but he is limited only by the thoughts which he chooses. I have a very interesting theory about this, and I believe that most people... No, let me take that back. A lot of people are not in control of their subconscious. I think the subconscious, when they think they're making a decision, it's the subconscious making a decision. And I think a lot of that comes down to thinking kind of like an animal. You're like a caveman. And I think a lot of men will cheat on their wives because they're thinking in the moment like a caveman. I think if you've got a little bit more intelligence, you think long term, and how much do you love your children? Do you want to hurt your children? Regardless of whether you have fallen out of love with your wife, do you want to hurt your children? No. So you do not hurt their mother. You do not you do not make their life, you don't do anything that's going to upset them and hurt them. That's selfish. So I think taking away, as I said before, those selfish thoughts, it's also super important to not allow yourself to succumb to just those animal instincts. I think it's very, very important to have more control, more emotional control, more composure. Um, and if we're talking about leaders, I think as a leader, it's really important to be able to think about your behavior in the moment and to be able to maintain like a bit of composure when you need to. If someone's shouting in your face, there is a time and a place to stay calm, and there is a time and a place to raise your voice. And I think having that control, that personal control, that control over your behavior, control over your thoughts, control over your desires, it takes a strong man to be able to do that. I think it's easier for a woman because I think women are less impulsive, women are more thoughtful, and I think they will sit and think about things a bit more. I'm not saying fully, but a bit more than men. I think men act a little bit stupid sometimes. So it's in our instincts to be a bit stupid. So yeah, I think being aware of your caveman instincts and learning to control them, I think is incredibly important as a man, as a leader, as a father, as a friend, as a son. I think that is vitally important. Be more in control of yourself, more in control of your emotions, more in control of your behavior, your words, your thoughts. Be less selfish. I think this book overall, As a Man Thinketh, I think is a very, very powerful book. It's not very long at all. It's very, very short. Um, I, I do I do believe that um, in almost every book. I think there's a lot of books I've been reading recently that are not even leadership related, but you can relate them in a way. I mean, I was reading, where is it? The Corporation is about Cuban. Actually, you can see it there in the background if you're watching. So the Corporation is about uh, Latin gangs and how they're how the gangs are run in America. I mean, you've got the Brazilianaires, so millionaires in Brazil. You've got there was another one I read, Nemesis, about a one of the big leaders of a drug empire, drug gang in Brazil, and it's very interesting how you can pick stuff out of that as well about the leaders of these gangs and how they behaved, and you have to have a certain type of personality to make it to that top boss position. Even someone like Pablo Escobar, you look at someone like Pablo Escobar, it's very interesting how his behavior, people just kind of, uh, I don't want to say succumb to his behavior, but they, um, through fear, but they've kind of very quickly respected him. Now it might not be, again, it might not be a good respect, but it's still a respect. Um, yeah, I've found a lot of very interesting books recently, so I'm gonna look at some more. I've got some interviews coming up. Really, really excited about them. Um, yeah, some super interesting people I'm going to be speaking to. Maybe not all directly to do with leadership. There's some that less so, but nonetheless super super interesting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Just quick review on the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. If you've got any comments, anything that you think, anything you want to talk about, anyone you think I should be interviewing or try and contact about interviewing, just let me know, please. Yeah, spread the word. I really want some help in making this, making this with as many people as possible. I really want to spread the word and just talk with as many people as possible about leadership and try and figure it out. I just find it fascinating. I really, really do. And yeah, you can really help. I really want your help. And if you know anyone who you think this would be interesting to, please send them my way. If you've got any feedback for me, give me some feedback as well. I'd love feedback. I want to know what I can do better, what you want. So yeah, let me know. I appreciate your time. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.